On January 4, 2026, the fate of two aircraft fundamentally reshaped the geopolitical landscape. One aircraft, a special plane carrying South Korean President Lee Jae-myung, and more than 200 leading figures from South Korea's business community landed in Beijing. The other, a chartered flight scheduled to depart from Tokyo's Haneda Airport carrying Japan's top-level economic delegation, was abruptly cancelled at the very last moment before takeoff. Earlier, Lee Jae-myung said in a recent interview with international media, when asked whether South Korea would intervene in a conflict across the Taiwan Strait, "I will consider that question when aliens invade the Earth."
His answer was very smart, but also it shows a very smart and clear answer that South Korea will stand firmly over the policy of one China policy. And that's why Lee Jae-myung chose China as his first foreign destination in 2026.
This visit by the South Korean president marks a decisive shift after years of diplomatic wavering, as South Korea at the beginning of 2026 chose a foreign policy path fundamentally different from that of Japan. In 2025, South Korea recorded consecutive trade deficits with China since the establishment of diplomatic relations, with the deficit at one point approaching $18 billion. At the same time, the United States did not convert its so-called friendly relationship with South Korea into concrete economic cooperation, but instead sharply reduced the profits of South Korean companies through a series of trade protectionist laws.
South Korea's shift in its policy towards China comes down to two main reasons. On one hand, they're trying to balance their ties between the US and China. On the other hand, for China and South Korea, this visit is a key step toward getting relationship back on track. It shows that high-level communications is becoming regular again, and it opens up dialogue even on issues. The visit was highly practical, personally brought along over 200 business leaders, and the two sides signed many cooperation arrangements, especially in technology and trade. This change in foreign policy is a big deal for regional stability. It also helps South Korea secure a more favorable position in the regional landscape. At this point, Japan really needs to think about this. Is it going to keep stirring up trouble in regional affairs, or is it going to work together with everyone else in Northeast Asia to maintain stability and push for development and prosperity here?
Lee Jae-myung's visit to Beijing broke with the long-standing convention under which South Korean presidents traditionally visited the United States and Japan before China, making China the centerpiece of his first overseas trip of the new year. By contrast, on November 7, 2025, Japan's newly appointed prime minister made a series of extreme remarks toward China, making it difficult for China-Japan relations to break the ice. The high-level reception extended to Lee Jae-myung in Beijing stands in a striking and ironic contrast to the rejection faced by the Japanese delegation.
This is a very, very clear and strong provocation against China, against the one China policy and China's sovereignty. Because we know one China policy is a very, very precondition for China to develop the foreign relations with another country. And also we have to know one China policy is a very, very important foundation for the stability and peace, not only in the East Asia, but also in the Asian Pacific region. So Japanese provocation, Japanese stances over the one China policy should be condemned.
On January 5, the day after Lee Jae-myung's visit to China, South Korea's KOSPI index closed broadly higher. In particular, duty-free stocks linked to Jeju Island with strong exposure to the Chinese market surged by 7.8%. The power battery sector recorded even stronger gains, rising by 10%. The South Korean won also saw a rare rebound against the US dollar. By contrast, Japan's Nikkei index in Tokyo fell by 130 points. Viewed together, the visit by Lee Jae-myung to China and Japan's rejection as two seemingly separate events reflect a deeper reshaping of the global geoeconomic landscape. Under the One China principle, China's friends and adversaries are becoming increasingly clear.
And one China policy should be insisted by the international community. And China hopes to share our prosperity and opportunities for development with our neighbors. But the neighbors should be peace lovers, should be the countries who cherish the friendship with China. we welcome the friends, and we will respond very firmly against the possible enemies.